Stackable Beaters, it's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and I am back with a quick and easy tutorial today. So I wanted to share a project featuring something that I had received from beebeecraft for the month of March. And if you saw my haul video from earlier this month, you remember that I got this 10-pack of this very colorful 20 gauge aluminum wire. It was very inexpensive, a great deal. At the time it was shipping from the US warehouse, which would have made it part of their free products if you spend $25 or more on US shipped items. I think it has switched over to the China warehouse now, so like I've said before, products kind of tend to go back and forth just depending on their availability, but I do try to feature items that ship from the US just because the majority of my viewers are from the US and I want you guys to get the best deal that you can. This bracelet idea has been around quite a bit, and this isn't an idea that I came up with or anything. I've seen this on many different platforms, including I know Potomac Beads has had a video on it years ago, Beadaholic, I think. I don't want to leave anybody out, but it's been everywhere. It's a great way to use this 20 gauge wire. Now I do want to mention this is aluminum wire, not copper. So to me, when I was working with it, it did feel a little bit softer and more pliable, but it still works really well, and I think the colors are so much fun. And it's a great way to use these larger flat beads that you may have in your stash, and it also doesn't take many beads to make a really cool bangle. Sometimes it can be a challenge to use wire that's in these more brighter colors and not just silver and gold, and these colors may be a little bit more out of your comfort zone, but it's a great way to really feature the colored wire and to make it a fun part of your jewelry. The other cool thing about these bangles is that you can stack them. So you could wear one by itself, or you can make several of them that are the same that you can stack, or stack them with some other bangles that are coordinating in other cool colors. So today we're going to make a bangle that looks similar to this one. I have 4 more of those beads, and we're just going to do this one with some of this brighter colored blue wire. Actually, this one right here, this is the one that was missing, so we'll just go ahead and do one with the little bit brighter blue wire here. And here's my 4 beads that I have. So look around your stash, see if you have any beads that are larger and kind of flat like that. I find that those work best than the ones that are really round, just because they're not going to be sticking up so much and a little bit more comfortable to wear. And real quick, another thing that I got from beebeecraft.com this month was this huge container of seashells, and most of them have pre-drilled holes so you can use them quick and easy in your jewelry. So I went ahead and pulled some. I just thought it would be fun to try to use some of these in a bangle, so I thought that kind of came out cool as well. And I just wanted to give you an example of another way you can use those shells or some other interesting shape in this bangle design. Here's one other one that I made, and this one I just did some more interesting wire wrapping around. I thought that kind of came out pretty cool too. So one of the first things you need to do is pick out which color wire you want. Again, this is just a 20 gauge aluminum wire, and we're going to need about 6 feet of wire to create the bangle that we're going to be making today. So I'm going to use this brighter blue wire that came in the set, and the set of 10 was actually just about $10 on their site when I went to place my order, so it was really reasonable. It was like, you know, about $1 per roll, which was great. So it's going to be hard for you to see all 6 feet of my wire that I have over here, but you'll just have to bear with me on that. And I've got my little friend Mickey helping me out today, so that's good. Alright, so you're going to need some wire cutters, and I'm going to just go ahead and clip this off the roll. I have about 6 feet sitting off to my right. You're going to want at least 3 beads. Some people do these in 3. We're just going to go ahead and make this bangle just like this with 4 beads. So you're going to have them kind of evenly spaced out like that. Now, the next thing you need is to have something that is going to create your round form. Some people have a bracelet mandrel like this. I actually just got my hands on one of these from Amazon. I will leave the link to this down below. I just got a kit with the bracelet mandrel, and it's got a nice little hammer since I'm doing more with wire. So I'll leave the link down below with that, along with the wire and some of the other things that I'm using. However, I know a lot of people don't have a bracelet mandrel, and if you don't worry. There are so many things around your house right now that are going to work for you, including a simple solo cup or plastic cup. So I found that this actually worked well for the size that I needed. If I did my wire wrapping around this section right here, and I will show you just for example, my wrist is about 6¼ inches in circumference, if I'm laying the measuring tape right on it. And my hands are not that big, so for me, the bangle with about a 3-inch diameter, and that is from this point to this point, works well enough for me to be able to get the bangle on my wrist. And the other thing is, with this wire, it is still a little bit pliable, so I mean that helps too, but I find that that's a good diameter for me. You'll have to just see what works for you. You may have to play around with it and get your sizing. Maybe you already have a bangle at home and you can just use that as a guide and see if that works for you, but that's just kind of a little guide and reference. If you have smaller wrists than I do, you know, you'll want to make it a little bit smaller. If you have larger wrists, you'll probably want to make it a little bit bigger. It just depends on your wrist and your hand size. So take the wire and take whatever you're going to use to be your guide to wrap the wire around, and I'm just going to use this cup even though I have a mandrel, that way you can see that this will work, and leave a little bit of a tail just in case, but put your thumb over part of it and you can see I've got about 6 inches hanging out that way, and I'm just holding this with my fingers and I'm just going to wrap it around. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you want to have 4 complete wraps around whatever you're wrapping around, and it's going to be a little bit wonky like that at first, and that is okay. Now, have this little ring of wire in your hand, and this little tail that you left, you want to go ahead and wrap that around those 4 strands of wire in a little coil 3 times. Okay, that's going to hold your wire together just like that, and eventually you're going to clip this off, but now you can just work with this working part of your wire. Other thing I want to mention is that I'm totally fine with my wire not like laying completely flat like this. I think it looks more round and a little bit more organic, and I'm good with it. With the wires bunched together, you can get as technical and precise as you want. If you want your wires to lay just like this, and you can really pay attention to how they're laying as you're wrapping your wires. But for ease of this bracelet and for the look that I'm going for today, I'm just going to be bunching them all together, and I'm good with that. The other thing is, if you want to get really technical and you really want to have your beads placed exactly in even increments and you are really concerned about your spacing, you can go ahead and you can take a permanent marker and just make a little dot, you know, measure out your wire and make a little dot to have everything evenly spaced. I'm just going to eyeball it. I know for me, if I leave what looks to be approximately 1 inch in between beads, I'll be okay. So that's what I'm going to do. So since we have our first wire wrap here, we're ready to go ahead and put on our first bead. So I'm going to grab the other end of my wire over here and just string on one of these beads. All right, and you will want to keep in mind you do want to have your wire as straight as possible, so if you have some nylon jaw pliers like that, definitely go ahead and try to straighten out your wire. And that's going to help, because if you have beads that have holes that are a little bit smaller or maybe a little bit more jagged, they could potentially strip the outer coating of your wire, and then you're going to end up with scratched wire or colored wire that is missing color in some spots, which is not what you want. Alright, so here's our first bead in place like this. So just slide it down as close as you can to this little coil. Then taking your working wire, just bend it around 1 time just to hold your bead in place like that, and then you're going to be going right over left, bend this underneath and around that bead. So there's 1 complete wrap, and you're going to do it 1 more time, and I like to go underneath the wrap that I just did. So I'm going to go around again and underneath just like that. And then I'm going to wrap this end of the wire around 3 times in a nice little coil to match this side. And there you have it. And you'll be able to play with this wire a little bit after to kind of tighten it up and to shape it a little bit. You can kind of tuck it under with your fingers at the moment if you want to do that. And at the end of this bracelet, you'll see we'll be able to tighten this coil back up if we need to. So it'll all be fine. Don't get too stressed about it. You may have to practice it a couple times first before you get the hang of it, but it's just crafting. We're just having fun. Alright, so now we're at the point where we want to leave a little bit of a space in between this bead and the next bead. So like I said, for me, I know if I kind of eyeball it to be about 1 inch in between beads, I'm usually pretty much okay. So I'm just leaving my fingernail there as a guide, and that is where I'm going to make my next little wrap. So I'm just going over, and I'm going to make another coil. 3 times I'm wrapping this around to get that matching coil, like that. Alright, and this wire is super bendable, and like I said, we'll be able to go back and play with it and get everything kind of tucked in and scrunched up just like we want it. Okay, so we're ready to put on another bead. Go ahead and do that, and push it all the way down to that coil. Hold it in place with this hand, and then go over once, like that, just to hold the bead in place. And then I'm going to go left over right, tuck my wire, I keep wanting to say thread, tuck it under the bead and wrap it around. That's one complete wrap, and then wrap it again. And I'm just going underneath the wire of the first wrap, just like that. And then we're going to make our little coil right on the end, and we're going to wrap this 3 times to match. So now you should have 2 beads on your wire. I'm going to go down about another inch, and I'm going to make another coil, wrapping this around 3 times. I'm going to put on another bead, hold it in place, and you can see that's about equidistant from this one right here, so we're doing good. Adding on my last bead. Just like that. Going under once and then doing our 2 wraps. As tight as you can. And then finally making our last coil. Just like that. So you should have something like this, and as you can see, my wire's not perfectly round. Things are not perfect, and that's okay. Now we're going to clip off our ends of our wire so that we can go ahead and straighten everything up the way we want to. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this one initial clip here with my flush cutters. I'm going to clip off this one right here. We'll clean that up a little bit more if we need to. Just move your excess wire out of the way, and do not throw this extra wire away. Definitely hang on to that. Just want to show you guys, I am keeping all of my extra pieces of wire in this little container. I keep all my little extras and, you know, even pieces of fire line, because that stuff's expensive, and I can't tell you how many times it's come in handy. So this is just my little container for extra wire. I've got little containers for just about everything. Alright, so now you can go ahead and use your nylon jaw pliers if you have them, or just use whatever pliers you have gently, and go ahead and just squish everything together as best you can. Just keep in mind these are not nylon jaw, because I know not everybody has them, so you'll just want to be extra careful that you're not going to scratch your wire. You know, you wouldn't want to be like going back and forth on your wire like that or anything. You can be a lot more rough with the nylon jaw pliers than with these when you're working with wire. And then if you want to, you can check out the bottoms, like underneath the beads, and you can pinch these together if that makes you feel good. You can do that. You can use your fingers, push everything together if you want to, like that, whatever you want to do. So then you want to just make sure your beads are sitting right and they're nicely placed on the outside of the wire. And then you can take whatever you were using to shape your bangle in the first place and just stretch it down and around that shape. And that's just going to round out your bangle. So if you have a bracelet mandrel, you can use that. If you don't, just use whatever you were using before. Since I have one here, I am going to go ahead and stretch it nicely around that. So handy to have this now. But I did make the other ones without a bracelet mandrel, so it can be done. And I just find that by pulling it down like this, it just stretches out the wire as straight as it can be and gets it in that really perfectly round shape. Okay, so then we'll pull that off. And here is our bangle, and it would be nice stacked with some other ones if you wanted to. Or you could wear it on its own. So I'm just going to get a little bit of a cleaner cut on these ends of my wire and make sure you tuck those in nicely so they're not scratching you. So there you go, a nice, quick, and easy bangle bracelet project using some 20 gauge wire. Again, I'll leave the links for everything down below if you're interested. It's always fun to come back and share with you some of the things that you can make from these products from beebeecraft.com. I want to thank them again for sending me these products to share another fun project with you guys. I can't wait to be back next month to show you some of the other things that they have sent for the month of April, and I'm hoping that I'll be doing a bugle bead type project share in April where I show you multiple ways to use bugle beads in your beading. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for being with me. Please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you've made one of these simple bangles before, or if you like shopping at beebeecraft, or any other comment or question you would like. I look forward to coming back very soon with more tutorials, more bead and jewelry hauls, more finished jewelry updates, and more subscription unboxings. Lots more to come. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, and as always, happy beading! If you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of my latest videos. Check out the information section under the video for links to my social media handles and other helpful info, and feel free to check out my shop at orchidandopal.com. Thanks for watching!